Shalom, family. Holiness is one of the most talked about and misunderstood things in this walk. Some people reduce holiness to clothing, outward appearance, or visible behavior. Others ignore it completely. But holiness is not a trend, and it's not optional. It's a requirement. We're going to start today off in First Peter 1:15. Here we're going to see what holiness actually means. So First Peter 1 verse 15. But as he which hath called you is holy, so be ye holy in all manner of conversation, because it is written, Be ye holy, for I am holy. Let's see what we can pull from these Strongs about holiness. Pure, morally, blameless, or religious, ceremonially consecrated. So we've been over that. We've looked into this word before, but it means to be blameless or consecrated. When I think of the word consecrated, I think of it was either in Chronicles or Esdras or Ezra, where the priest had to be separate for a minute when they were cleansing the temple and so on and so forth. They had to be separate from everybody else before they could go in the temple. They There was a whole list of just different things that they couldn't do. Couldn't go near a dead body. Couldn't lay with their wives. There was there was multiple things that they had to be able to go in the temple and stand before Yah. So more solely righteous, um, to be in good standing with Yah. So the word holy for everybody within the body, everybody in the congregation, whether even back then, whether they were priests, Levites, from the tribe, whatever, an Israelite. The word means set apart, not blending in, not adapting to the world, but being different by design, by Yah's design. So now we're going to see where holiness, it starts within. We're going to Romans 12:2. And it reads, And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of Yah. So here you see, you have to renew your mind. You have to come out of the world. You have to think totally different, so that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of Yah. Yah's will is for you to walk in his law, statutes, and commandments. Holiness is not just what people see, it's what you are becoming, because you can look right, sound right, and still be far from Yah. This one is very, very important. The renewing of your mind. You have to come. This is where we are in bondage. This is where we are in captivity because of our mindset. You have to change your mind. For instance, like all the stuff that's going on now in the world, everybody's worried about gas prices. Everybody was worried about what Trump's doing, what Iran's doing, what Israel is doing. But your focus needs to be on Yah, because He's your power. I'm not saying not to watch these things, so because the scriptures tell you to watch and pray. But that's it. Watch and pray and hear Yah. Hear Yah keep His commandments. He's going to lead you what you need to be doing. You shouldn't be listening to what the world says. You should be listening to Him. So if your mind is renewed and set back on Yah, those things won't bother you. You won't be scared. There's a song, what is it called? I can't remember what it's called. But Bro Tim Stevens, it's one of K Judah songs. Bro Tim Stevens always plays it. And it's one of my favorite songs. And in the song it says, fear attaches to the weak, or something like that. That's what I always think of, like people that's getting scared and stuff like that. It's because they're weak, because they're not walking in their power. So now we're going to go to Matthew 23 and 27. And we're going to see the danger of outwardly holiness only. So in 27, we're in Matthew chapter 23, verse 27. It says, "Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye are like unto whited sepulchres." Let's see what this word is. "Whitewashed tombs, which indeed appear beautiful outward, but are within full of dead men's bones and all uncleanliness." This is where many get it wrong. They focus on their image, their presentation, looking set apart, but ignore the pride they have within them, the bitterness, the envy, the unforgiveness. This is not holy. You can't you have to judge the righteous judgment. And that's knowing them by their fruit, not seeing them physically. The only way you can see them spiritually is by the fruit that they produce. And if there's any pride, bitterness, envy, unforgiveness, that is not holiness. You can tell that they are walking like the scribes and the Pharisees. They're hypocrites. They say they love Yah, but they don't love Yah's people, or they don't love themselves, or so on and so forth. You know them by their fruits. We can see that in Matthew that the scribes, the Pharisees, the Sadducees, it was all a performance. That's exactly what it was a performance. It was not really truly loving Yah. So now we're going to go up to verse 5 here in Matthew. And we're going to see the examples of false or outwardly holiness. We're going to see what the scribes and the Pharisees they did. And it says in Matthew 5:23, Matthew 23, verse 5. "But all their works they do for to be seen of men. They make broad their phylacteries and enlarge the borders of their garments, and the love the uppermost rooms at feasts and the chief seats in the synagogues and greetings in the markets, and to be called of men, Rabbi, Rabbi." The Pharisees looked righteous, but their focus was appearance. You see, they did it for it to be seen of men, not to be seen of Yah. So now we're going to go look at another example, and we're going to 1 Samuel 15 and 9. And it reads, "But Saul and the people spared Agag, and the best of the sheep, and of the oxen, and of the fatlings, and the lambs, and all that was good, and would not utterly destroy them, but everything that was vile, and refused, that they destroyed utterly." Here we see Saul obeyed, but not fully. He kept what he wanted. Partial obedience, this ain't holiness. Not at all. You can't just think of if your mom or your dad told you wash the dishes, clean the countertops, sweep the floor, and mop it, and you just washed the dishes, and you thought that was okay. What would your parents say? This is the same. Partial obedience is not holiness. Now we're going to go to Acts, verse 5. We're going to start at verse 1. Chapter 5, I'm sorry, verse 1. "But a certain man named Ananias, with Sapphira, his wife, sold a possession and kept back part of the price. His wife also being privy to it, and brought a certain part, and laid it at the apostles' feet. But Peter said, Ananias, why hath Satan filled thine heart to lie to the Holy Ghost and to keep back part of the price of the land. So if you haven't read this story, I'd advise you to go back and read it, because him and his wife said that they were going to give a certain amount. But you see here, they kept back part of it and then went to Peter and presented him. And he lied to the Rawak Kadash, and he kept back part of the price of the land. So holiness is truth. He appeared as he was doing something righteous, but he was really doing something unrighteous because he lied. So holiness is truth, not an image. Now we're going to look at some examples of what true holiness looks like. We're going to see holiness affects how you think, how you speak, how you respond, how you treat others. It's a lifestyle of alignment with Yah. So now we're going to Genesis 39, and we're going to verse 7. And it reads, "And it came to pass after these things, that his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph, and she said, Lie with me. But he refused, and said unto his master's wife, Behold, my master wotteth not what is with me in the house, and he hath committed all that he hath to my hand. There is none greater in this house than I, neither hath he kept back anything from me but thee, because thou art his wife. How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against Yah?" So we see here, if you don't know the story about Joseph in Egypt, but we see here his wife is coming, no one's watching. But if you keep reading down, and it came, I'm at 10, verse 10, and it came to pass, as she spake to Joseph day by day, that he hearkened not unto her to lie by her or to be with her. So we see Joseph chose holiness. No one was watching, but he still chose righteousness. He could have snuck and did this, but he knew Yah is his power and Yah sees him. If the Pharaoh never found out, Yah knows. So this is what holiness is. So now we're going to move on to another example, and we're going to Daniel. And this is one of my favorite stories. We're going to chapter 1 and verse 8. Even though people have started this whole Daniel fast, even though it clearly reads, I think people don't understand what a fast is, which is just not eating. Daniel was still eating. He just didn't. So let's just read it before I get on a ramble. "But Daniel proposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with the portion of the king's meat, nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore he requested of the prince of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself." We see here, he chose holiness. And holiness is a decision made beforehand. He chose not to defile himself with the portions of the king's meat. So we're going to see a dainty portion of meat, portions of food for kings, delicacies. Daniel chose holiness. He made this in his head. He proposed it in his heart before even saying anything to anybody. He already had made this decision. It's a lifestyle that's in alignment with Yah. And Daniel was walking with Yah. Now we're going to Job 1 and 1. And it reads, "There was a man in the land of Uz, whose name was Job. And that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared Yah and eschewed evil." So let's see what this word perfect. complete, usually pious, specifically gentle, dear, coupled, together, perfect, plain. Let's see, perfect, complete. One who lacks nothing in physical strength, beauty, etc., sound, wholesome. But we see here he eschewed evil. Holiness is fearing Yah. We see here Job did, and turning away from evil. He eschewed. Let's see what the footnote is. Shunned. Now let's see. In the Hebrew, it says to turn aside, depart. Now we're going to Hebrews. We're going to 4:15. And it reads, "For we have not an high priest which cannot be touched with the feelings or our infirmities, but with in all points tempted like as we are, yet without sin." Holiness is definitely not the absence of temptation. It is obedience in the face of it. So we can see this here. But within all points tempted, like we are, yet without sin. They've been tempted, but they're without sin. So, some real life examples. Someone may dress modest, speak spiritually, know scriptures, but the fruit that they produce is harsh, unteachable, full of pride. This is not holiness because holiness produces fruit, not just form. Now we're going to see how holiness requires separation. We're going to Leviticus 20 and 26. Leviticus, sorry, family. Leviticus 20:26. And ye shall be holy unto me, for I am the Lord, for I, Yahweh, am holy, and have severed you from other people, that ye shall become mine. And in 2 Corinthians 6:17. Wherefore, come out from among them, and be ye separate, saith Adonai, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. Here we see being set apart means you won't fit in everywhere. Not supposed to. You won't agree with everything. You won't follow the crowd. This is what come out of her means. Not following along with the world and what the world is doing. Now we're going to Psalms 1:1 through 2. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of Yahweh, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. Separation is not just isolation, it is alignment. Now, we all know why people avoid holiness. We know that It's because holiness requires change, discipline, obedience. We went over this before. That's the number one thing. People don't want to change, especially the blood-born Israelites are stiff-necked, disobedient children. That is has been our reputation throughout the scriptures. Not all of them, but the reason why we're here where we're at today is because our people were stiff-necked, disobedient children, and they did not want to change. They didn't want discipline. They didn't want obedience. They wanted everything else that the world had. They didn't want what Yah had. So now we're going to John 3. We're going to start at 19. And it reads, "And this is the condemnation that light is come into the world, and men love darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil." People avoid holiness because it exposes what they don't want to change. Many want truth without transformation. That's exactly what they want. And I always go back to the Israelites that came out of Egypt. I can't, for the life of them, the ones that seen the Red Sea part, I can't, for the life of me, understand how you could ever turn back. Seeing all the things that happen, it just blows my mind. So now we're going to see holiness, set apartness, is a command. It's 100% a command. And we're going to find this in Hebrews 12 and 14. Follow peace with all men and holiness, without which no man shall see Adonai. You see this here? Without peace and holiness, no man shall see Yahweh Shai. No man shall see Yahweh. This is not optional. This is required. They're telling you right here that this is required. So to wrap this all up, you cannot claim Yah and still live like the world. Holiness is not about looking different. It's about being different. Holiness is not proven by what you show people. It's proven by what you do when no one is watching. You think no one is watching, but Yah's watching. Because at the end of the day, Yah's not looking for performance. He's looking for people who are truly set apart. And with this family, I'm going to say Shalom.